Aye, shepherd's pie, greetings from the Philippines. Welcome back to the channel for a walk and a talk. We'll have a little chat today about the biggest mistake I made since moving to the Philippines. Because it's a mistake that I don't regret. I'm glad I did it because it taught me a valuable life lesson. But it's something that I see people doing on a regular basis over here. So I'm hoping that by talking about it, some of you will avoid making the same mistake, because it's very easy to do in the Philippines. The temptation is there when you first arrive. And if you do it, invariably, you're going to end up regretting it. And what is that mistake? It is splashing the cash. It is being over generous. It is attempting, when I broke it down and reflected on it, an attempt to buy popularity. And it's not a good idea, because at the end of the day, it's self-defeating, and it can ruin or end your time in the Philippines. So what am I talking about? When you first get here, a lot of people, if you haven't been here before, will be blown away by how friendly the locals are, how cheap the alcohol is. And that combination can lead you to get into party mode, holiday mode I used to call it, which is fine when you're on holiday. Fine when you're on holiday. That's what holiday's all about. But in my opinion, it's only my opinion, based on my experiences, it's a damn stupid thing to do when you move here. I'm gonna have to pull over here now. There was a big car coming down, and it's a very small road. I'm gonna end up in the bushes. He's gonna drive over my foot. Anyway, there we go. Right. So yeah, I did it. I did it in Siquijor. I got over there. I was intoxicated by the atmosphere. I was blown away by how friendly the people were. I was enjoying myself. I wanted to have fun. I was in party mode. I'd go out at night. I was buying people drinks. You know, I had a crowd around me. I was socialising. I was having a great time. I was enjoying the popularity, or what I thought was my popularity. Because in reality it wasn't. It was all a facade. Now, the reason I don't regret it is, as I say, I learned a valuable lesson. For those of you who are new to the channel, my time in Siquijor came to an abrupt end. I won't go into the full details now. What I will do is leave a link below to a couple of videos which chronicle what happened there, but it didn't end well. But the primary reason why it didn't end well was because of my attitude over there. I had splashed the cash. I had been over friendly. I had been buying affection, basically. I didn't realise it at the time. That's why I'm saying it was such a good lesson learned, because when I did ultimately leave, on the last night of going, I went out for a drink with my old mate Paul, and he hit me with a pearl of wisdom, which I will carry with me to my dying days. And that was, You don't need everybody to like you. And when he said it, I knew exactly what he meant. You see, when we are splashing the cash, when we're going in, when we're saying drinks for everyone in the bar and all that kind of stuff, and, you know, getting everybody up into party mode and having a great time, in your mind, certainly in my mind, I thought I was doing it for them. But the reality was, in reflection, I was doing it for myself. You know, I was enjoying the atmosphere. I was enjoying the fact that I was, in my mind, Mr. Popular. And the reality is I wasn't. I was nowhere near as popular as I thought I was. And I found that out when I had the problems with the neighbour and all these so-called friends suddenly deserted me. But as I say, I don't regret it because I won't make that mistake again. And I kind of kick myself for having made it. But I say I don't regret it because you live and learn. And it surprised me really, given how long I've been living as an expat, that I made such a rookie mistake. Because I never did that in Thailand. Because in Thailand, when you're in somewhere like Jom Tien or Pattaya, you know that, you know, the popularity, you're paying for it. You know that the bar girls are excessively friendly because that's their job. Okay? And I say, people who watch the channel will know the bar girl scene was never my thing. But when I moved up to the other parts of Thailand, when I lived in Phetchabun and when I lived in Buriram, it was different because I was in a relationship. So the people we socialised with were my girlfriend's family and her friends and things like that. So I wasn't trying to buy affection, you know what I mean? It was not that situation, you know. It just wasn't. So I didn't do it there. When I lived in Vegas, I didn't do it then either, because again, Vegas, it's like Pattaya in a way. You know that splashing the cash won't bring you real friends. You know, it's just a job, it's the business, it's, you know, it's Vegas. So why did I do it when I came here? Well, the reality is, the alcohol is so cheap here, and the people are so friendly. You know, buying a round of drinks for like 10 or 12 people, you know, won't cost you more than about £10, well, £12, £13, $20, you know. So there's a real tendency to do it. And a lot of the Filipino people will be incredibly receptive to that. And you blind yourself to the reality. Now, I don't blame them. If I was earning 300 pesos a day, I'd do the same thing. I mean, if you're in the UK and some rich guy came in, and I'm not saying I'm rich by Western standards, but over here we are wealthy, and we're buying the drinks for everyone, a lot of people would accept it. That's why you get your millionaires and your billionaires have their entourages, you know, because people hang on. And the reality is that's what I had over there, a load of hangers-on. And it took me several months and my attack from my stalker to realise that. But it's something that I see every day here, particularly with, well, not every day, frequently. People who come over here, they've just arrived, they're on a high, they're really happy, and they want to increase their circle of friends. They want to make friends, and they want to make friends quickly because they're lonely in a way. And it's a bad idea with Filipinos. So I'm probably going to turn around and walk the other way now because I think the sun might be a bit too bright behind me. That's why I've got the camera on me today instead of forward, because the sun's going to be a real problem. It's a hot, hot day. But it's a bad idea with expats as well, because when you do that, when you go in and you start talking to people and you start flashing your money around and you start buying drinks, over here you will attract attention. You will attract attention from Filipinos, and you're going to set a precedent. Very quickly they're going to come to expect it, and you're going to set a precedent with expats who are not going to be impressed. They're really not. Now I've met a number of subscribers over the last few months who've come to Dumagetti and they've wanted to meet me, and I'm always happy to meet people, you know. And several of them have been making the same mistake. You know, you go out, you go into, I met one guy and he's in this bar and he is just buying drinks for everybody. He wants to buy me drinks, he wants to buy these other guys drinks, and I'm saying, look, don't do that, mate, don't do that, there's no need. Just slow down, just slow down. And he's like, no, no, what does it matter, what does it matter? Well, it matters because other expats are looking at you and thinking, this bloke's a fool. You know, why is he doing that? You know, and they know why you're doing it. Because as far as they're concerned, you're a fool. And you don't know shit. Filipinos, the less well-meaning ones, will look at you straight away as a weak mark. That you're vulnerable. Because they know what you're doing. They know why you're doing it. You're buying the smiles. You're buying the laughs at your jokes. And you will encourage the wrong attention. And as I say, they will think you're an easy mark. And the reality is, although you don't realise it at the time, you are an easy mark. And it won't end there. Before you know it, there will be requests to borrow money. There will be women who are very interested in you, but more likely than not, they're interested in you for the wrong reasons, financial reasons. And whose fault is that? Can't blame them. You got to look at it. Surely you've got to blame yourself, because you're the one who's created the impression that money's not an object to you. And it's like the old adage, a fool and his money is easily parted. And you will realise this mistake at some stage. How long it takes will vary on the person. Because it will either be an incredibly painful and financially damaging situation when you end up in a long relationship and you end up losing a lot of money, or like me, you will wake up one day and realise, or someone as pulled to me will tap you on the shoulder and say, listen, look at what you're doing. And most of the time when that happens, that will sour you on the Philippines and you will leave. Now, I know 3 or 4 guys who've come over here since I've been here who've done exactly the same thing, and none of them are in the Philippines now. They've all left. And I would have left after Siquijor if it hadn't been for Ellen and the fact that I promised myself I would give it 2 years in the Philippines. I would have left after Siquijor because I was angry. I felt let down. I felt cheated by the so-called friends. I thought, I don't want any of this place. I don't want to be here. I don't want anything to do with Filipinos. Don't trust them. Which is not a feeling I ever had in Thailand, which I know some people will find strange, but I was there just over 7 years. I never got ripped off. I never got robbed. I never got scammed by any girlfriends or women or whatever. But that's just my experience. And I thought, I want to go back to Thailand. I always come down here, but I don't know how far I can walk before it's too far. So, you've got a much better chance of lasting here if you just take it slowly. Because Dumagetti is a very, and I understand why guys do it. They are intoxicated by the atmosphere. And I'm not just talking about chasing women. Some people say, oh, they just want women. I'm talking about guys. You know, the guys I've met, you know, they're out and they want to buy, you know, you're in the bar and you meet for a beer, it's one particular guy, and he's like, can I get all you guys a drink? And there's these expats at the bar, and they're like, no, 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 we're fine. It's like, no, no, get one. And he orders them anyway. And he's like chatting away to everyone. And I didn't know these expats, I'd never met them before. He goes to the toilet. As soon as he goes away, they're like, what's this guy's story? What's it? He's not going to last here, you know. Because he behaved that way, it was achieving the opposite of what he was trying to achieve. Dumaguete is a very friendly place in the expat community, but there are circles, you know, there are different groups, and it's not a cliquey place, but the reality is when you come here, you will end up with a particular group of friends. Which group it will be, I do not know, which bars, which restaurants or whatever, or what interests you've got, but you know, it's a very welcoming place. So you won't have to try too hard to make friends here. And you shouldn't try too hard. Because if you try too hard, it will have the opposite effect. Don't try and buy affection. It will not work. It's only 65 pesos for a beer. You're not going to impress or buy friends amongst the expat community by buying people beers. You know, it's not the way to do it. Being overbearing is not the way to do it. I'm probably going to end up walking in circles around here now because the sun is going to be a real pain, I fear. Anyway, there you go, trying a little walk up here. It's just not the way to do it. Expect to be lonely when you get here for a little while, because it really is a case, in my opinion, of slowly catchy monkey. When you get here, start dating, take some women out, not with the intention of having a definite relationship, just to fill your time. Find a couple of restaurants or bars that you like and go there regularly for a couple of weeks, so you get to know some of the people there. Then try somewhere else. If you just go from bar to bar, different restaurant every day, you're not going to get to really know people, or a different coffee shop or whatever. Maybe you're not if you're not a beer drinker, if you're a coffee kind of guy, this advice is not really relevant to you, because you're not going to go in a coffee shop, I wouldn't have thought, and say, hey, lattes for everyone, you know, mockers here, mockers there. You know, I'm talking about people who like to socialise. These are the people I'm talking about, people like myself who like to go out and mix. The first couple of months I was here, the people that built my social circle up were the bar owners, the business owners, the restaurant owners. If you go there and you get in with those chaps, I'll put my hand up like this, this sun's going to be a real nightmare, and you get in with those chaps, they'll introduce you to people. They will say, hey, meet this guy, hey, meet that guy. And you'll find a lot of the people are nice. They're probably not going to invite you out for a drink straight away, or, you know, be over friendly, but they will be receptive. And after a few weeks here, a few months, you'll start to build a decent circle of friends. As I say, which type of friends they are, I mean, who they'll be, I don't know, it depends on you. But I move in a particular circle. I know a lot of other people, but there are certain areas, certain places where there are other circles of people I can say hello to, I don't really mix with. They're good chaps. You might end up in that. But the point is, don't try and rush the process. Because, unfortunately, one of the things about expat communities is first impressions can stick for a while. Yeah, you can win them round, you know, I mean, you can change things. If it's not really you, if the you had presented really isn't you, over time people will get to see that, and they'll get to see the real you, and then your friends will develop around that. But as I say, you cannot force it. It's the worst thing you can do. I have a couple of friends over who have been a while, and they are, when they get drunk, they're happy and they just want to buy drinks and chat and move. You know, it doesn't go down well. When you see people come into a bar, you'll see guys come in and they'll sit down and they'll be like, can I get you guys a drink? And they start, and they're being overly friendly. It turns people off. The people that you want to be your friends, it will make them less likely to want to socialise with you. But some people will want to socialise you, and I mean expats now, and these are the ones that you want to avoid, because as I said to you, 65 pesos for a beer does not mean much to your typical expat. So if you're buying drinks for a guy and he's befriending you because of that and he's an expat, well, it tells you 65 pesos means a lot to him. And I would suggest, I mean, there's nothing wrong. I've always said I don't judge people by the size of their wallet, the money they got. But if someone is that impressed by 65 pesos or a couple of beers here or a bottle of whatever, then you know they're short of cash. If they're short of cash, they're probably not the kind of expat that you want to become too close to too quickly, because they're after you for your money, and they're more likely to want to borrow money from you. They're more likely to want to take advantage of you, and that's the reality. As I say, I honestly think that applies. It applies to most countries, but it applies to more in the Philippines, because there is something about the Philippines. I see it every day. I was guilty of it. You drop your guard. I would never have behaved the way I did when I first got here in Thailand. I never did it in Cambodia. I often reflect on the fact, why did I do it here? And as I say, something about the Philippines, because I couldn't get my head around the fact when I first got to Siquijor. You'd walk in like the rum bar, everyone was so damn friendly. And I'm thinking, well, they're not doing this for drinks or whatever, they're just friendly, great people. And a lot of them are, but a lot aren't. A lot are taking advantage, are going to take advantage of you. And if you're bulletproof, if you can accept that and you know that and you go in with that view and you're going to carry on like that, and you know you're under no illusions, then that will work with Filipinos. But as I say, it won't work with the expats, I don't think. But anyway, there you go. That is basically the mistake I made when I came here. And as I say, I see a lot of people doing it. A lot of people doing it. Just slow down. Be nice. It will come to you. The girlfriend you're looking for, the women you want, will take interest in you. You will find them. But hopefully they will not be financially motivated. You know, you will make friends with other expats. And I don't mean don't buy drinks. Of course, if you're sitting, if I was in a bar now and I meet someone and I'm chatting to them for about 10, 15 minutes, you know, when I want a drink, I'll say, would you like a beer? There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is, don't, you know, saw it the other week in a bar. This guy come in, he's been here a while, and I met him once and I said hello, and he's like shaking everyone's hand and on top of them and like, can I get you guys a beer and all that kind of stuff. And he goes to the bar, they all said no, and one of them says like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, he's all right. He says, well, he didn't strike me as all right. You know, because they've seen it all before. They've seen people come in and do that, and, you know, it's considered brash over here. Most of the people that I associate with, I'm not impressed by it. I'm not impressed by it, you know. Hello, hi, 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 hi. You know, anyway, I've gone on a long time now. Hello, hi, how you doing? Hi. It's only friendly people over here. Very easy to see guys like that out and say, let's have a beer, let's do it, you know what I mean? It's and it is a nice thing to do. I'm not saying do not be generous over here. I'm saying do it for the right reasons. You know, are you doing it because you want to be nice to these people? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it because you want to be popular? Anyway, I have gone on long enough now, I think. You'll either agree or you will disagree, but I tell you, I think this is the best advice I could actually offer someone. You know, just go slowly, acclimatise. Like they say in the film, if you build it, it will come. Don't try and create something. Don't try and create a house of cards. It's don't flash the cash. Just behave as you would in your home country, because you want to make this your home country. The light that burns twice as light, what is it? The light that turns, look, I can't even speak now. The light that burns twice as bright burns half as long. Quote another film, Blade Runner. And it's very true here. It's very true. You come here and you act like a party animal, and you behave the way I have been talking about. You know, it will wear thin after a few months, and you'll wake up one day, you'll look in the mirror. Hello. One of my dogs that I feed. And you will realise your friends aren't your friends. You'll feel betrayed. You'll realise it's not for you. Because you'll get bored here if you live that lifestyle. You will get bored here. Because the things to me, as I said many times, I just walk up here again because the sun is behind me. Cannot end this. And here's my other dog. Hello, how are you? Anyway, there you go. I am the dog man of the village. You will, Dumaguete is not a fantastic place. Yeah, you can have a good few months here going out all the time. But the thing that will keep you here, long term, are the friends you make and the relationship, the woman you find. If you're just going to come here and you think you're just going to live this, you know, splashing the cash party lifestyle, going out every night, you know, drinks for everyone, it will be great for the first couple of months. But as I say, one day you will wake up, you'll realise they're not your friends, you'll realise that you're lonely, and you'll realise Dumaguete ain't that great. You can only go to the same bar so many times. You can only do the same thing so many times before it wears thin. Anyway, I have gone on far too long. I'm going to end the video now. I'm going to go back to the house. I'm going to feed my doggies. Well, they're not my doggies. The local doggies. And then I'm going to upload this video. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully I didn't waffle too long. Hopefully you will heed my advice. If you like the video, please smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed, it would be great if you did. But whether you do, whether you don't, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe, be lucky.